I wanted to put up a video here, repair I did to this car. It's a 2006 Mercury Grand Marquis. It's my father's car. He had told me that the wheel was loose here. You could, go like this with it, side to side. It would wobble around there. Like, I thought it was maybe a bad bearing, in the column in there. So he said that also the wheel, if it was in a certain spot when it was parked, the horn would just start going off. You'd have to run out and move the, just move the wheel, and then it would be okay. And I heard it once too, when he was driving, when he turned the wheel, it sounded like there's broken plastic in there. But, so I decided to look at it, I took it apart, and it ended up, there was a bearing that was blown out of it. It was missing almost all the balls, some of them fell out after I took it apart. And thought it was going to be an easy fix, just, the car's a 2006, go to the dealership, get some bearings, and, no problem. But they couldn't find the bearings in their parts thing. Eventually they were like, oh, we got to sell you a column. The column was $1,300. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I got one out of a junkyard. It was $100. Came with the wheel, airbag. Didn't come with this plastic trim, but it was the same color. It happened to be tan. It was nice. It's a little better wheel. I mean, it's got wood grain on the top, which I think is nice. It was really dirty. I mean, all this area here was black, with filth on it. But it cleaned up fine, and it also has better buttons, more cruise control options here, and then has radio controls and temperature controls, which is cool. So it worked out pretty good. $100 with a 6-month warranty. But I'll show you the column that. So this is the unit here that would be $1,300, but it wouldn't come with this. Wouldn't come with this. Wouldn't come with the airbag sensor. So it would come stripped down. You'd have to change it all anyways. So I mean, I don't see how this is $1,300, but whatever. But the bearing was in here, in this area, and this is the bearing. There's two of them. One was blown out. I threw it away. But see, it doesn't stay together very well. But it's just a little ball bearing thing. It's probably a freaking $2 bearing. But I tried to go to a bearing place too. And they had any bearing I could ever imagine before. And I went in there and he laughed at me. He's like, dude, no, you can't get this. It's an odd size. They make it like that on purpose so that you can't go and get bearings. But the other one is in this area here underneath this spring. But this is basically, this is a lot of exaggeration, but that's what the steering wheel was doing. But like I said, I got a friggin' one out of a junkyard for $100. I switched all the components. This was the old wheel here. So it only has, same cruise control function actually, just two different buttons. But the other one's got radio stuff. It's pretty cool. But the plus side is I have a lot of extra parts now. I have spare airbag sensor, crash sensor, whatever that is. It's got to be something with the airbags to reduce risk of personal injury from unwanted deployment. So, and it's got a yellow tag there. A lot of times airbag wiring is all yellow wires, yellow connectors to kind of let you know. But so I spare that, spare directional switch, spare shifter, I came with an ignition, Put on my phone. I switched that so the key was the same. Spare clock spring. This is the original one. So when if you don't know, clock spring is behind the steering wheel. It'll go right like in this area here. And then your wheel goes on top, and your airbag wiring, your horn, those switches, all that shit goes through this clock spring. So if you ever take this bottom shaft off, don't go turning the wheel like this, because that'll break this clock spring. It's only made to go certain amount one way, certain amount the other way. If not, people, when they put stuff together, if they spun it once, just one rotation of this shaft with the wheel on, this on, when you go to turn that corner all the way tight, you'll break that clock spring, and then you'll get an airbag code. None of the buttons will work, blah, blah, blah. So this one I took off, and it was moving. There's two, notches there, and it was moving, so I just put this tape over it. So put the tape over it, it won't move. I broke one once a long time ago, and ever since then I've been real careful. If you take this apart, disconnect the battery, wait a little bit, a few minutes. As long as you disconnect the battery, airbag won't go off. As far as I know, in my experience, I've never had one blow off, but here's the airbag I took off, which is kind of weird because I was confused on how to take this off because it doesn't have bolts, but it goes in, and you have like these little releases here that you just push to the side with. I use a flathead screwdriver, a real small one, but you just put it in this hole. There's 4 of them. Shove it in the hole there, pry it off. It comes right off. It's not that bad, not that hard. But yeah, I just figured I'd put it on there, let somebody know if they had the same trouble. This is not really hard to do. You just have to be careful, and if you can hold a wrench and you know what to do with it, then you can do this job. It's just be patient. Disconnect the battery. I am going to do this, because I measured these. These are like a metric bearing, I think. It's like 25.2 is this inner diameter. And then this was 40, I think, outer diameter. So the only thing close was a 25 millimeter and a 42 millimeter. So if this happens again, I might go to a machine shop and have them bore this to 42 and turn this shaft down inside to 25. It's only 2/1000ths or whatever, 0.2 millimeter, not 2/1000ths. But that's if they're even going to do it. I don't know if they'd want to do that. This is a non-serviceable thing, and they don't even make this so you can take it apart. To take this off, I took this retainer here. There's a recall on this retainer down here too. If you haven't got it done, check and make sure, because you can lose steering. But there's a bearing here. This one's good. But you rotate this green coupler, and then you can take the shaft out. This whole thing comes out as one unit. But then you can't take this apart here. You can't take that apart as far as I know, unless you drilled it out and then made new ones. But I'm not going to do that. So, that's it. Just figured I'd put it up. Maybe it'll help somebody, you won't have to take this all apart and learn like I did, because I took it apart. I spent a couple days driving around trying to get friggin' parts for this thing, to have the dealership tell me that, it couldn't do it. But so another repair I did too was the heater blower would only blow, and it's down there, I don't feel like going in there, but it only blow and defrost, and I had to take it apart and put new O-rings in it. And here are the little O-rings. There's four O-rings. Those are 3 of the old ones that failed. But you just replace these O-rings, pretty easy. I looked up, I think this guy called the Carter Hour or something like that. He had a little video on it, and I watched it, and it was very helpful and made it a breeze. I mean, if I had to figure it out on my own, I don't even know if I could. But very good video if you don't know anything about fixing a vehicle. You could watch that video and you could do it no problem. And I guess it's a real expensive repair for a dealership to do, or whatever. But yeah, check that out. I gotta give him a comment to let him know that he helped me out or whatever. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Maybe I can answer them, whatever. But thanks for watching.